Hello, ChemFam. We're going to review really quick about the metric system. There is a saying that you can use to kind of remember the prefix letters, and it's King Harold died by drinking chocolate milk. Now the K stands for kilo. The H is going to stand for hecto. DA stands for deca. B just stands for base. Now remember, in all types of units and measurements, you have a base unit. So grams is the base unit for mass. Meters is the base unit for length. Seconds is the base unit for time, and liters is the base unit for volume. There are other ones too, but these are the ones that most commonly are used in chemistry. All right. When you go below base in the smaller units, you end up with deci, centi, and milli. All right. The reason that the metric system is so great is because as long as you know this order, you don't actually have to do any multiplication or division to convert back and forth. So let me give you an example. Say you have 45.223 grams. Okay, so that's a mass because it's in grams. Since you're in grams, that means that you are currently under the base section of the metric system. Now say we wanted to convert that into milligrams, mg. The reason you know it's milligrams is because the little letter m is used in front of the g, and g is the base unit. So if you look, little m is right here, milligrams. So if you start at the base unit and you go 1, 2, 3 to the right, that's exactly what you're going to do to convert. You'll start wherever the decimal point is and go 1, 2, 3 to the right, just like you did on the chart above. And that means it would be 45.223 milligrams. And that makes sense. There's a lot more milligrams than grams. Even though it's the same amount of mass, milligrams are really small. In fact, there's 1,000 milligrams inside 1 gram. And again, that makes sense because you moved 1, 2, 3 decimal places over. And take a look. 1, 2, 3 zeros are in 1,000. When you multiply something by 1,000, you really move the decimal 1, 2, 3 places over. So if you don't like this method with using, some people call it the stair step. They put it kind of in a cool stair step design. But I call it the loop and swoop method, where you just loop over and move your decimal as many places. But if you don't like that, you can use dimensional analysis and it gets you the same answer. So for example, if I had 45.223 grams and I wanted to get rid of grams, I'd put it on the bottom, and I wanted to get it in milligrams, I'd put it on top. Now I'd have to use a conversion factor or an equivalent to show how much they're equal to. Well, if for every 1 gram there's 1,000, my units of grams cancel out and I'm left with milligrams. And in the end, I do 45.22 times 1,000, which ends up getting me this same answer over here. Now it's a little overkill to show you all that, but there's a reason why this chart works, and that's why I was showing you it. If you move 3 places to the right, it's really like multiplying by 1 with 3 zeros after it, or 1,000. Because of that, this becomes very easy to convert back and forth. All right, say we have another example problem. Say we have 345,776 liters. What is that? 345,776 liters. That's a lot of volume. And say we wanted to convert that to kiloliters. The reason I know it's kiloliters is K stands for kilo. That's up here. And the big L stands for liters. And liters is actually a base unit. So in this case, we're actually starting at liters, which again is a base unit. So we're starting right here. But this time we're going to end up in kiloliters, kilos. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 to the left. All right, the quick way to do this is to just move your decimal point 3 to the left. But some of you might be saying, well, wait, there is no decimal point in this number. Oh, just relax. If there is no decimal point, we know that the decimal point comes right after the number. So if I'm going to move 3 to the left, 1, 2, 3, that's going to end up giving me an answer of 345 with the decimal point there, 0.776 in my new units of kiloliters. And again, that makes sense that the number is going to get smaller because a kiloliter is a lot larger than a liter. In fact, a kilo means 1,000 times bigger. So there's 1,000 liters base units in 1 kiloliter. There's also 1,000 grams in a kilogram, and 1,000 meters in a kilometer, and 1,000 seconds in a kiloseconds. So that's why metric system really is beneficial and easy to use, because we just start throwing these letters in front of them and they work. By the way, on a side note, DA is normally the accepted form or prefix for deca, though I have seen some people use DK for deca instead. All right, but technically DA is the proper way to go with that. All right, maybe let's do another example. Let's look at 100,000 meters and see if we can convert it to a few different things. So I'm going to take 100,000 meters and I'm going to convert it to centimeters. I'm going to take 100,000 meters and I'm going to convert it to kilometers. I'm going to take 100,000 meters and I'm going to convert it to hectometers. And sorry, technically that should be a lowercase h. I must admit, we don't end up using hecta that often, so I do sometimes get a little sloppy with that. But a hectometer. And let's convert it to a decameter as well. So 100,000 meters to a decameter. So I'm going to put DAM for decameter. Okay, again, some people put that as DKM as well for decameter. Just kind of like tomato, tomato, though technically DA is the proper letters for that. Regardless, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I have to convert all of these. This is an insane amount of time. But actually, with the metric system, it becomes a very short amount of time. So for all of them, you're starting with meters. Meters is a base unit. Awesome. So if I want to go to centimeters, I'm just going to go 1, 2 to the right. So that means if I'm going to go 2 to the right, there's a decimal point at the very end of the number if there's no decimal point. So I'm just going to go add 2 more zeros because it's going to go 1, 2 to the right. So that becomes now, instead of 100,000 meters, it becomes 10 million centimeters. All right, that was quick. Let's go from meters to kilometers. We just did that recently. That's 1, 2, 3 backwards. Since there's no decimal, I'm going to put it at the end and move 1, 2, 3 backwards. So that really is going to end up giving me about 100 kilometers. All right. For hectometers, I'm starting at base and going 1, 2 to the left. I'm going to do the same. 1, 2 to the left. And what am I left over with is 1,000 hectometers. All right. What about decameters? Decameters, not decimeters. Decameters are the bigger ones. That's 10 times bigger. So I'm just going to go 1 to the left, and that's going to bring me 1 to the left. And that means that I have, instead of 5 zeros, I'm now going to have 4 zeros. DAM. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. There you go. Now I converted them. It's actually really quick once you get it down. So just remember, King Harold died by drinking chocolate milk. If you remember that, kilo, hecta, deca, base, deci, centi, milli, it actually becomes very straightforward. Also, don't forget that you don't have to always start at the base. Say I had 25 hectometers and I wanted to convert to millimeters. I could do that. I would just have to, let me switch my color. Let me go to green here. Hectometers to millimeters. I'm going to go from H to M. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. So if I have the number 25, I just need to add 5 zeros because that's where the decimal would go. 5 in front of me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that would become millimeters. And going back, that means it's 2.5 million millimeters is 25 hectometers. All right? Metric system's the way to go. English system, like 12 inches and 1 foot, what a mess. metric system really is the best opportunity and option to be able to do conversions very quickly. All right, Chem Fam, hopefully this helped and was a great review for your metrics. Best of luck.